Let me ask you a question. Was it different doing a film in the Sarasota, Florida area compared to other parts of the country? Did you enjoy the experience here? Was it conducive for what is going to be on the screen? Or does Sarasota need to learn from Hollywood or other places?
Well, I think Sarasota, like any other, smaller town has movie production companies, are probably in the learning process. But I think this was a very quick learning process. Steve Tatone is the producer and the director for this movie, and he's actually been around several years. I know he's originally from Ohio, and now he's been down here in Sarasota for several years. And he's produced commercials and other smaller television programming from time to time, both up in Ohio and down in Sarasota. And so this is his first movie venture, but certainly not his first venture at production and directing. And so he's done this before, and he was very careful about these songs that were selected, because this is a musical drama. So there's there's about a dozen songs or so that are in the movie that are performed by either myself or the other leads, Danielle White and Kimber Cleveland. Danielle is actually a local Floridian, and she's from Bradenton, and just a beautiful, wonderful voice. She competed in American Idol and did very well there. She competed when she was a little younger, when she was about 12 years old, and she actually won when she was 12 years old. So she's got a beautiful voice, wonderful actress, and she's done some acting as well in the past. So he's picked people that that have some experience, not necessarily the 15 or 20 Hollywood movies experience, but he does have as well some people on board, a couple of Hollywood people that have worked in the film industry that were also helpful during the film, and so it really is a very good quality film. I think it's as good as anything you'll see coming out of Hollywood, and certainly better than some that come out of Hollywood as well. So I think people will be very pleasantly surprised.
How important is it to have on stage with you other actors and actresses to complement you as you're doing a film, like Danielle? How well did you get along with her? How well did you complement? Did you learn to know her as the film was being made and you just took a liking to her? What happened there?
That's just about right. I mean, it's very important. Danielle and I had many scenes together. I had more scenes with her than anybody else, because we're the two main characters in the film. And as I got to know her, I remember when I first met her, and we got a chance to talk a little bit prior to actually shooting our scenes, and I just found her to be a very pleasant, a very nice person. And as we got involved in shooting the scenes themselves, we just got to know each other better and became friends eventually. And I think that was very, very helpful. Some of the scenes we had to shoot were, we had dancing scene together, and we had a couple of other scenes together that required us to be very friendly with one another. There was no hanky-panky going on necessarily, but it just turned out to be a lot of fun. And as I said, we got to know each other a little better, and it made it easier to work together in those scenes.
So there is something to be said about how two people have chemistry between one another.
There really is, and that's something that the director was looking for too when he put us together. That was one of the first things he was looking for in our the first couple of times we sat down and read lines together, and then started actually shooting a couple of scenes, and he felt that was something that we did have together right away. So I think that was extremely important.
The reason I asked you that question, I hope to have a moment with Christopher Plummer on Levine in the Morning, and everybody always remembers Sound of Music.
Oh, sure.
And how he complimented and how he worked with Julie Andrews in that movie.
Right.
And you could feel the chemistry. It's like the hills were alive with The Sound of Music. You know what I mean?
Right.
And everybody remembers his blue eyes and so forth and so on, and how she melted as a young person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, was it difficult? Because I guess there's an age disparity between yourself and Danielle. She's, I think, 19 years old.
Right, she is. And she really does have the maturity, though, I would say, of somebody that's at least 10 years older than she is. She's very intelligent. She's very mature, and so it was. I was extremely surprised to find out when we met When I eventually found out that she was 19, I thought she was, at least in her late 20s, because the conversations we had prior to shooting scenes felt like there were conversations I was having with somebody who'd had maybe 10 years of adulthood life experience, and because, like I said, she's very intelligent and very intuitive and very thought provoking, and so it was wonderful to work with somebody so young, but actually somebody so good at what she does and so tuned into what she does. Yeah.
Well, certainly, Jay, not to sound cliche, but your humility is it's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing, my friend. And the way that you compliment the friends that you've made along the way. I want to, first of all, I love you because you use the word homage just the way I do. But I am a Chicago boy, and
okay.
I have family that live Grosse Pointe, and a couple family members down in 313. And so I got to ask you, how has the reception been back home?
It's just funny you should say Grosse Pointe, because I grew up in Detroit, which also has a Grosse Pointe there, and I had lived in Grosse Pointe there briefly. But yeah, the people back home, of course, just think this is a great thing. They felt like this is something maybe I could have or should have been doing some time ago. I did start out doing some stage acting prior to performing as Neil Diamond back in the 80s, and I did that for about 4 or 5 years and really enjoyed it. And once I started doing the Neil Diamond thing, of course, it just kind of took off, which I didn't expect, and I never got turned around and got back to acting, which was something that I truly did enjoy and love. And when this opportunity came along, I thought, I can't pass this up. I have to give this a shot again, see if I still have the acting chops that I once had, and I think it's worked out very well. Like I said, I think people will be very pleasantly surprised. But I think one of the fun things about the film is that a lot of times, you'll watch a movie and halfway into the movie you'll say, well, I know how this is going to end. These two people are going to fall in love, and because they hate each other right now in the middle of the movie or whatever. And this is not a movie like that. This is one of those movies where in the end, in the middle of the movie, you might think it's going to go in one direction, then by the end of the movie, it goes in a completely different direction and kind of surprises you. And I think that's one of the things that people will enjoy and appreciate.
Well, Rick and I are actually going to be coming to see the show tonight. I look forward to meeting you, Jay. Very much so.
I look forward to it.